Sailor the Piper Man, Piper the Sailor Man this morning with a cup of coffee. How are all my friends out there in TV land or in YouTube? Shout out to all of you. Tunnel, the tunnel, right, was talking about dignity and race and these issues that have become even greater. And the reason why they become greater because we got more media and more things are being seen and can be recorded. And in the past, all these things existed, but there were people who were more couth, more reserved about their opinion, making it known because of all the busing and civil rights movement and everything. They didn't want to be perceived as a racist. And I think that's the wrong word when you call somebody racist. I think what it is ethnocentric. I like that word better because oftentimes they're not prejudiced against your color, but maybe the way you were brought up, maybe your ethnic group, they don't get along. You know, there's a lot of Turkish people don't get along with the Greeks, and it has a historical significance because of the wars. Oftentimes, English don't get along with the French because of the wars. Spanish don't get along with the English because of wars in the 16th, 15th century and long wars. Oftentimes, Mexicans don't get along with Chicanos, even within their own group. There are times that within America, Southerners don't get along with Northern white people. And it's a whole thing about, Southerners and their feeling of inferiority because they lost the Civil War, and then they'll bring up why they lost it and all this stuff. And these are things that are beyond us. Like, those things happened in the past, but still people hold on to those things. They still treasure the memories of their grandparents and whoever told them, the South will rise, Like, for example, I had a friend when I was stationed in Camp Lejeune. He was Southern. He was from North Carolina. And he had that attitude of, well, I'm from the South. My family's fought of the Confederate, And I came out and I said, I'm more Southern than you. And he looks at me like, what are you talking about? I says, well, my folks came from Puerto Rico, which is south of North Carolina. So I'm more southerner than you, I was using play on words. And he goes, yeah, but you're not American. I said, hell, I'm not. I got Native American blood, indigenous to this part of the hemisphere. I got indigenous blood not only from Taino, but also from the Amazon. How was that? How did that happen? Well, obviously one of my ancestors traveled to Venezuela, Colombia, and married a woman and brought her back to Puerto Rico. People traveled back then. There was large human migration, which people don't get into, and I'm going to get into. For example, the people that Apostle Paul talked to in Asia Minor, what is now known as Turkey, weren't Turkish. They were Celtic, Gallic people that migrated along Europe and ended up heading over to where they're presently located in Ireland, but they weren't always from Ireland. Ireland had the indigenous group. Like, I took my DNA now. I got Britain, a tribe, indigenous tribe to England. They weren't Anglo-Saxons, they weren't English, they weren't Gallic, they were Britain. And if you ever really want to know the truth about it, you're going to realize a lot of the people from Europe were very, very light-skinned, the indigenous people. Very dark-skinned indigenous people. That's just what I'm saying. We've been brought up, we've been taught this and that. We've been taught, Africans are savages. Some are taught, all kind of crazy stuff. I've come across all crazy stuff, across the background. I had this one customer when I was a tobacconist. Math was never my great subject. I was good at it, but it wasn't great. And he stood there and he's all English. You could tell he's a preppy type, well educated, probably went to private school. He goes, you're having problem with your arithmetic. You probably went to public school. And I looked at him, and he was like being very snobbish. Pipe smokers can be very snobbish. They have this air of aristocratic. And it wasn't that. I had been working with him. I had like 5 customers at the same time. And at that present moment, I couldn't compute what this guy was buying because I was busy with over here. And he came out saying, that I wasn't well educated. But by that, what he was saying was I wasn't well educated. And I took affront to that. I said, what do you mean I'm not educated? What are you referring to? Because I go to public school? That I'm not educated? What are you talking about, the New York public school system? I said, I could name you hundreds of people that came out of the public school system are great scientists right now. But I let him go. He's a good customer. But you got some people that are really full of themselves. So I think the word is not racism. I think the word, which is hardly used, ethnocentric, where you believe your culture is superior, your way of life is superior, your way of eating, your habits, your customs, your music, your culture is superior to somebody else's culture. In the scriptures, in Matthew 24, it says that there will be wars and rumors of wars. Nations will rise against nations. The word nation there is not a nation in the sense that we see nations. It's talking about ethnic group in the original Greek, ethnos. Group. They will be fighting among groups, and that's what's happening now. Ethnic groups fighting ethnic groups. The Irish fight the Scottish, the Irish fight the English, the Scottish fight the English, things like that, and it's happening all over the world. That's to be said. Racism, it's hard to, that word, because if you're going to study DNA, you're going to realize no one is pure. Not even the so-called Aryans. Well, that's it for this morning. That's a take on Enthno takes talk on racism. It's really not racism, it's ethnocentricity. Blessings to all. This is Sid of the Piper Man signing out.